Hello everyone and welcome to a lecture on exception handling in object-oriented programming C++. So we have the lecture objectives. First of all, we will see what are errors and exception. Then we will see exception handling mechanism, the try, throw and catch block. Then we will see rethrowing an exception. So in this video we will cover the first three topics. So what is an error and what is an exception? So an error is a term used to describe any issue that arises unexpectedly and the results in incorrect output. Right? So this is an error. So there are basically different types of errors. So you have a logical error and a syntactic error. Now this logical error occurs due to poor understanding of the problem or solution procedure. And syntactic error arises due to the poor understanding of the language itself. Right? So the two types of errors are basically done in the compile time while writing your code. Right? So this occurs during compile time and your program does not get executed or it does not give you the correct output. Right? And exception are runtime anomalies or unusual conditions that a program may encounter while executing. So this is during compile time and this is during runtime. Means your programming is correct, but whenever you are running through loops, sometimes some condition may occur that your program tries to divide something by 0, right? So this is an exception. So exceptions are basically of two types. One is synchronous exception and other is asynchronous exception. The exception which occur during the program execution due to some faults in the input data are known as synchronous exception. For example, errors such as out of range means suppose an array is of only 9 elements and you are providing 10 elements, so that may be one error, one exception. Then overflow or underflow. The second type of exception is asynchronous exception. So exceptions caused by events or faults unrelated to the program and beyond the control of the program are called as asynchronous exceptions. For example, errors such as keyboard interrupts, hardware malfunctions or disk failures. So these are called as asynchronous exceptions. Now exception handling mechanism. Now, exception handling mechanism provides a means to detect and report an exception circumstances. So what we do in this exception handling? First, find the problem, that is hit the exception. Then inform that an error has occurred, that is throwing an exception. And receive the error information, that is catching the exception. And after receiving the error information, take corrective action. So that is the exception handling. This error handling consists of two segments. We will see this later. So this exception handling mechanism is built upon three keywords. First is try, second is throw, and third is catch. So first of all, let us see the try keyword. So try is used to preface a block of statements which may generate exceptions. So basically whatever the code you have to write, that will be inside the try block. Okay. Then second keyword is throw. The second part of exception handling mechanism is throw. So where an exception is detected, now inside try block you will write some codes, and whenever an exception is detected, that is suppose for example a program is trying to divide something by 0, right? So you will not get correct output, you will get a math error. Okay, so you have not handled it, so you will get a math error, right? So you have to take care in compile time only that such error will not occur in the program while running. So when an exception is detected, it is thrown using a throw statement in the try block. Okay, so this throw statement will come inside the try block. And the third is catch. A catch block defined by the keyword catch catches the exception thrown by the throw statement in the try block and handles it appropriately. So the basic structure is you have a try block, and inside that you will have your code. Whenever something will occur, so you will throw the exception, and outside this try block you will have a catch block. Okay. So in this way, if error occurs, it will go to catch block. So catch block defined by the keyword catch catches the exception thrown by the throw statement in the try block and handles it appropriately. So when the try block throws an exception, the program control leaves the try block and enters the catch statement of the catch block. Right, as I have already told, once it is thrown, the program control will leave to the catch block. If the type of the object thrown matches the argument type in the catch statement, the catch block is executed. Suppose you throw an integer value, right? And in catch block, you have some integer I. So since it is integer, it will go to this catch block. If this is a string, then it will go to corresponding catch block depending on the data type, argument type. So otherwise the program is terminated with the help of abort function. So if the corresponding catch block, if the compiler does not find the corresponding catch block, so the program will be terminated abruptly using the abort function. So let us understand this try block and try catch throw mechanism with the help of an example. So you have your integer int main, you have two integers a, b. So you are entering the values of a and b, c in a, c in b, and you are just checking that if a minus b, so you are assigning a minus b to x. Okay, so for example, if a is 10 and suppose b is also 10, so this 10 minus 10 will be 0. So it is basically getting the difference between the two variables. And then try if x is not equals to 0. Means if it is not 0, then you will have to obtain the result, right? So if it is not equals to 0, then see out the result a by x is equals to a by x. So suppose this is 20 and this is 10, so you will get 20 by 10, which is 2. So in the output you will get 2, right? But suppose if both the values of a and b appears to be 1 or 10, so x equals to a minus b turn out to be 0, and x will not be equals to 0. That is basically x will be equals to 0, not equals to not. So this condition will satisfy, which is given in the else statement. Okay, if x is not equals to 0, then this statement will be executed. If x is equals to 0, then else statement will be executed. So if both the values are 10, 10, so x will be 0, and hence this corresponding throw statement will be thrown. So throw x. So basically the value of x is 0. So since it is an integer, this will throw over here, right? And the value of I is nothing but 0. So exception, it will display the message exception caught, and corresponding value of x, that is 0. Okay, so in this way you can do this try block. You can check the try catch mechanism. Okay, so this is one example. So exceptions thrown by functions. So mostly exceptions are thrown by functions that are invoked from within the try blocks. The point at which throw is executed is called as throw point. So suppose you are having a try block and you have written some functions. So invokes a function that contains an exception. So this will go to your throw point. So it will throw the exception, the function that causes the exception, right? So this throw point will throw the exception and it will go to corresponding catch blocks depending on the type of function. So just for example, you have a divide function having 3 arguments, integer x, integer y and integer z. So if x minus y not equals to 0, so integer r is equals to z by x minus y. Since x minus y is in the denominator, we are checking only this x minus y. Okay, so that division by 0 will not occur. So see out result and r. So you will get appropriate value. But if this statement does not satisfy, it will go to else. Else throw x minus y, which is nothing but the 0. Right? Now how this program will run? It will always start through main function. Then inside try you have just called the divide function, divide 10, 20, 30. So x will take the value of 10, y will take the value of 20 and z will take the value of 30. And we have to check whether x minus y is not equals to 0. Yes, 10 minus 20 is not equals to 0, means this condition is satisfied. And ultimately you will get the result that 30 divided by 10 minus 20, that is minus 10. Right, so you will get in the answer that is minus 3. Okay, now after getting the minus 3, second function will be called, right? So now x will be set to 10, y is set to 10 and z is set to 20. So you can clearly see that x is equals to y and hence this condition will not satisfy and hence it will throw this exception. Okay, now once this try block of this exception is thrown, the function has thrown the exception, right? The divide function has thrown the exception, right? So it will go to corresponding catch block here. Okay, now you can see integer I, it will display exception caught and finally it will return 0. So in this way you can see the working of exceptions thrown by the functions. So let us have a more detailed idea about throwing mechanism. So when an exception is desired to be handled is detected, it is thrown using the throw statement we have just seen. Now this throw statement has one of the following forms: throw exception, then without parenthesis throw exception, and simply throw. The operand object exception may be of any type, including constants as well. Catching mechanism. A catch block looks like a function definition, that is catch and corresponding argument type. It may be int I, it may be character s, or it may be float f. Right? It is very similar to your function definition. And then you will have statements for managing or handling exceptions. The type indicates the type of exception that catch block handles. The catch statement catches an exception whose type matches with the type argument. Right? We have already seen that. multiple catch statements. So multiple catch statements can be associated with a try block. When an exception is thrown, the exception handlers are searched for an appropriate match. The first handler that yields the match is executed. After executing the handler, the control goes to the first statement after the last catch block for that try. Let us understand this with the help of an example. So you have a function test and accepting one argument, that is an integer argument x. Now in try block you have written if x compares with 1, then throw x, else if x compares with 0, then throw x. Now you can see here this x is a character because it is enclosed in single quote, right? Else if x compares with -1, throw 1.0. So this is of float type. 1.0 is float and this x is integer type because you have declared here as integer, right? Now this is the end of try block. Then inside catch you have 3 different handlers, that is one is catching the character, second is catching the integer type, and third is catching the float type, right? Float or double. And this is the end of try catch block, right? Now in integer main for checking, so what you are doing, you are see out the case for x compares with 1, right? So this will be printed and then you are passing 1 as an argument to this test function, right? So in the first case the value of x is 1. You can see that it will go here if x compares with 1, throw x. So it will print caught an integer, okay? So you can see caught an integer and end of try catch system. So this will be printed and this will be printed. Now second test case is the value of 0 is passed through test function. You can see the value of 0, then it will go to character. So it will display caught a character, right? X compares with 1, caught a double, right? And you can see x compares with -1, throw 1.0, that is your double, and caught a double. And whenever you are giving x is 2, so the 2 will be passed. So there is no case for 2, so it will not throw anything, and that's why you can simply see end of try block, that is this, okay? So in this way multiple catch statement you can write. Now you can catch all exception at a time also. So sometimes it is not possible to anticipate all possible types of exceptions and therefore not able to design the independent catch handlers to catch them, right? So in that case you can use catch all exceptions. The catch statement can also force to catch all the exceptions instead of a certain type alone. So in the previous example we have seen that different types of exceptions were handled depending on the data type. But in some cases you are not able to write the code for all the possible types of exceptions, and in that case you can use such syntax: catch, round bracket and 3 dots, and then followed by statements for processing all exceptions. So irrespective of the data type, everything this throw statement will come to this block only. You can see this with the help of an example. So again we have the same example. So you can see only one is written, that is catch, and followed by the 3 dots, and only caught an exception, okay, irrespective of the data type. So test one case, 1 throw X, so it will print caught an exception. For this also it will print caught an exception. For this also it will print catch an exception. For this it will print end of try block. Right, so in this way you can catch all the exception at one time. So there is one more concept, that is rethrowing an exception. So the handler can rethrow the exceptions caught without processing it. This can be done using throw without any argument. You will simply write throw and followed by the semicolon without giving any parentheses and nor any arguments. Here the current exception is thrown to the next enclosing try catch block. Every time when an exception is rethrown, it will not be caught by the same catch statements. Rather, it will be caught by the catch statements outside the try catch block. We will understand this with the help of an example. So you have again the same divide function, double x and double y. So first of all it will print inside function. Okay, let us this time we'll start with the main function, right? Because always program starts with your main function. So first of all it will print inside main function. So you can see inside main is printed. After that it will go into try block. Then this will be called divide 10.5 comma 2.0. So this x will be assigned the value of 10.5 and y will be assigned the value of 2.0. Right, then it will print cout inside functions. So you can see the second statement printed is inside function. Now it will try if y compares with 0. So you can see y is equals to 2 and not 0. So it will, this block of statements will not be get executed. Else cout division. So you can see the next statement is division is equals to 5.25. That is x by y. So that is 10.5 by 2. So you will get division equals to 5.25. And then the control will come over here. Now the second divide function will be executed. So you can see, okay, after this I forgot that cout division, then cout end of function. Okay, it will go to end of function and then second function will be executed. Now again for second function the value of x is 20. Value of x is 20 and y is 0. Now it will print inside function this statement. Now if y compares with 0 means now it will go into this block, throw y, right? So it will throw y to next catch block. So you can see this is the next catch block because the value of y is 0.0, which is a double value, and hence it will go to here and it will print caught double inside the function. You can see over here caught double inside the function. Now we are not doing anything here, we are simply rethrowing it. So we will use once again throw without any parameter, right? So now it will throw the exception or control of the program to next available catch statement. So you can see the next available catch statement is this. Okay, so you can see caught double inside main, it is printed, right? And then since everything is executed, it will go here and it will print end of main. So in this way this rethrowing an exception work. Okay, so I hope you have understood this exception handling. Thank you for watching the video, and if you have any queries you can comment in the box. If you have any requests regarding any topic you can send it to untwistedlearning@gmail.com. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.